for this great presentation.
Savunma harcamaları, ekonomik büyüme ve istikrarlı bir İslam dünyası isimli bildirisini
So now I would like to leave the floor to Wisam SAMARAH and Ataur RAHMAN from Jerusalem, Bangladesh. Wisam SAMARAH is going to make their presentation. You have 15 minutes, so please respect the timing. Thank you so much. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Buyurun başlayabilirsiniz.
You can start your presentation. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Okay. You can start.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Sir, are you on the English channel?
Yes, I'm on the English channel.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Evet, buyurun. Başlayabilirsiniz.
Yes, we can hear you. Please start your
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, thank you. Respected professors, dignitaries, and everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Wisam is a little bit sick, so he's not going to present the paper, but I'm here to present the paper. And the title of our paper is Defense Spending, Economic Growth, and Stable Islamic World. And I promise I will try my best to keep myself content within 10 minutes or less. The main question that we are addressing in this presentation will be, how can we get a peaceful Muslim world? And then, is there any role for cooperation among Muslim countries? Is military cooperation possible? And how can we build more trust among Muslim countries? I think we will all agree that the prerequisite of any type of treaty or any type of alliance is to have mutual respect and mutual trust among its members. So unless and until we have that mutual trust and respect, and we have some boundaries that we will voluntarily not cross, and this type of understanding is very important to have a very effective alliance. So about the background, wars are normally welcome from a strict economic sense, and wars means destruction, which also means recreation, more economic activities. War creates an emergency situation, which also means more supervision and higher productivity. War means more production, which also means more jobs. War means exercising authority, which also means forcing people to cooperate when they are not doing that voluntarily. War means demonstration of power, which also means intimidating enemies and consolidating power. So war has a kind of positive effect. War has a kind of positive effect on economy. So in economics, they don't necessarily dislike wars, but we are in a different situation. However, to take the advantage, we need to have some sort of condition fulfilled. We need to be the winner of the war. In every war, there is a winner and a loser. So we need to be the winner of the war. We need to have war outside our borders so that the local infrastructure remains more or less unharmed. We need to have capacity to produce high quality product and fast. That's more important, so that when the demand will increase, we can actually deliver products on demand. We have to have involvement in research and development. A very important thing, we cannot win a war just by purchasing defense mechanism from somebody who is against us. That's a very basic, 101 level understanding that we need to have extensive research and development to get benefit out of this war. And if you just, I think this, you can see my slides as well. These are the US and European Union's arms export and imports. The red one is the US arms export, and it went down, but then it again peaked, and US arms import is actually always down, minuscule, and EU arms export is relatively more than its arms import. So if we want to have benefit from this war, then we have to have these type of capacities which those countries are having, and we are clearly lacking from that. Unfortunately, we Muslim countries are not in a position to exploit such economic gains. To make things worse, most of the wars that we experience in Muslim world are categorically civil war. That's a different kind of war, lot more nastier, because there people are killing the neighbors, and people of one country is killing the people of the same country, the war between two tribes because of faith and all these things. So that's a pure mess. That's a pure mess. And it erodes trust among people of same country, same background, and oftentimes of same religion. Just they differ by something very little, maybe insignificant to many of us, but very significant to them. And they start a war and kill each other. So that's the kind of civil war that we are experiencing. So that's a lot difficult to handle. That certainly would not help. Civil wars destroys infrastructure. It destroys trust. Wars destroy trust, but civil war in a specific way destroys it more violently. Civil war shatters confidence. Civil wars breaks families, demoralize people. We need to stop such wars, especially when it happens to within our boundary, and our means our boundary within the Muslim countries. And for that sake, as a human being, we should not allow these civil wars to happen even in any remotest corner of this world, because that's a very difficult thing. However, solution. Of course, there is a solution, historical solution. Historical solution is very simple. You have to have a very strong state government. Literally, the cookbook process is you have such a strong government that all the fighting fractions will say that if we do not stop fight, then big boss will come and they will flatten us. And they just basically intimidated. That is actually the solution that is given by us from the history. However, technically strong government is not something that we normally see in contemporary Muslim world. Unfortunately, we had strong governments in the sense that somehow, rightfully or wrongfully, they used to exert their full control over their country, and maybe that raised some issues of human rights and other things, but at least they brought peace. And the prosperity, whatever we have, is a kind of indirect result of that peace, internal peace. But unfortunately, especially after this Arab Spring and things, many people are expressing their views, and which is certainly very good, but also the strong government, the concept is kind of gone. So trying to get help from a strong government to stop the civil war is kind of difficult to expect. Alternatively, we can also have a strong alliance of Muslim states so that the fighting fractions will be intimidated, as they have to face the resistance from the alliance, not from a particular country. And in any case, if they win that fraction, they will that winning fraction may not necessarily be welcomed by the alliances. So the strategic discomfort of those fighting fractions will be higher. However, problem is still there, and forming alliance is not a very pragmatic solution for Muslim countries either, because they have very little commonality. And what do we mean by that? Muslim countries have no common enemies. If we start thinking about who is our enemy, of course, we can theoretically say that people of these are our enemies. But if when we want to start a war or want to develop a defense, we need to have a state. And I don't think that we can identify one country that we think are common enemy in pragmatic sense. We are very generous to everybody through our business ties, through our tourism, through our economic ties, through our everything. We have multi-level stakes in all countries. So we don't have any common enemy. And unfortunately, we don't have any common friend either. If we don't have any common enemy and common friend, it will be very difficult to come at a platform and start thinking that we are all same. Countries have different agenda and sometimes hidden agenda. That's perfectly fine, and that's all international relations is all about. Countries, they have different agenda, of course they will have, and they will have hidden agenda. No established boundary of code of conduct. Interfering into another country's domestic issue is not something uncommon among Muslim countries. That happens always. That happens always. If we don't respect my neighbor, then I'm not going to get back that respect. So, but unfortunately, that is the reality, and most probably that is not going to change. But does that mean that this type of dismal situation will carry on, and we will not be able to talk about some uniform platform or some common force joining all these Muslim forces together? Well, certainly we can try. Certainly we can try. Hence, we argue that that's we means we, the authors of these papers, we argue that before thinking of any military alliance, Muslim countries should work on economic cooperation. Currently, Muslim countries have very little trade among themselves, and they said this small table shows that intra-OIC countries exports and imports, and average was around 14% export was around 14% in 2016, and little bit less in 2017, and even little bit less in 2018. That was the last time. That was the last year we got data, and was 16.4, and then it was a little bit higher, and then it depressed a little bit. So many of the Muslim countries actually share border with each other, and many Muslim countries are actually clustered in MENA, Middle East and North Africa region. So it's not very unusual to think that they will have a lot of exports and imports within themselves, but unfortunately they're not. That's not what is happening. IMF has identified 802 import pairs within OIC countries. So there are 802 pair countries who do not have any business tie among themselves within these OIC countries. So we actually are not very interested to extend our business tie. We are not exploring that what my brother, next door brother have something what he has to sell, and that's a kind of very difficult situation. First, we have to know each other. Then we have to work together. This indicates that there is a huge potential for member countries of the largest interested coalition, which is our OIC, of the world, to cooperate through trade. When they have common enemy, then they can cooperate. actually, most probably, we all know that there is Islamic Military Alliance for Fight Terrorism, and they have started working few years back, and that is basically to work against what is called terrorism. So this terrorism, these terrorist groups, the groups that are considered as terrorist, and they actually are against kind of all countries, and they disturb every country. So when we have common reasons, when you have common enemy, we can pull ourselves together. But unfortunately, other than this thing, most probably we don't have too much in common. So it, we have to figure that out. We have to clean that situation before we try to make improve. Improve economic cooperation will strengthen the ties between Muslim countries, will increase mutual interdependence is very important. I need to depend on you and you need to depend on me. That type of mutual independence is not there. If it is not there, then no treaty will come back. Nobody makes treaty with big brother. So we have to have mutual dependence, and which will also bring the concept of mutual respect, which will also bring the concept of mutual respect, will make non-cooperation more costly. That's also another strategy that we can take. We can make cooperation attractive and non-cooperation costly. And that's how we can bind these forces together and can take advantage, of course, with each other's natural bounties. I'm sure a lot of speakers before me has mentioned about these natural bounties. We have unlimited bounties of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within our environment, and we have a fair good share of that, and we can take advantage of that by sharing with each other. So the point we are trying to
Teşekkürler.
make
Çok sağ
that
olun.
yes, it is very important. If it is very important that if we can make military treaties, and if we can make military treaties and military alliances, then most probably civil war problem will be kind of gone. But unfortunately, I don't think we are close to that. We have to clear up many issues before going that, and most importantly, we have to build up mutual respects and treat everybody with honor, and we have to be dependent on each other. So that's all from me.
Bilmeliyiz.
Thank
Benden
you
bu
very
kadar.
much. I would like to have some questions, but I think
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. The time is up anyway.
the moderator has.
Well, actually, we don't have any further
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you so
Assalamu alaikum.
much.
Aleykümselam. Çok teşekkürler.
Thank you very much. And now the latest panelist is Mr. Asım Öztürk,
Savunma bağlamında
who will be talking about the importance of African Union within the context of collective defense for the Islamic Union. Asım Bey, the floor is yours. You have 15 minutes. Thank you so much.